going to be a quick tutorial on how a teacher review for a project works. It will be a similar interface as the SRC will have. The SRC module is not currently available at this moment, but will be up shortly. So if I go to signtier.com, I'm going to log in as a teacher. And once I'm logged in with my user account, this particular teacher has multiple roles. She's also a fair director. So to do a teacher review or to sign the adult sponsor form 1, I need to make sure that I'm on the teacher's dashboard, and I do that over here in my role chooser. So I'm going to click teacher. AAA High School is my test school. Now I'm on my teacher page. If you're a teacher and you don't have any other roles, this is the page that you'll come to when you log in. We have projects on the left and students on the right. If we want to review a project, I will click on projects. I have a list of my projects down here. Up here at the top, I have a list of projects that have not been reviewed yet. And over here, I have a list of projects that have been reviewed. So I have 2 waiting to be reviewed here, and I have 0 over here. So I want to click to review a project on the red to review the project. Now I have a review status. I've got one project here that says it needs review, and I've got one project here which I reviewed earlier and sent back to the student for corrections. So you'll be able to see what the status is. So I'm going to go ahead and review this one that's waiting for review, and this takes us to the review screen interface. Over here on the left hand side, we have the basic project information. If I click for history, I get to view the review history for that project. So I've sent it back to the student before. I can look and see what it was I asked them for. Or if someone else has reviewed it, I'll be able to see the history of their review and on all of their comments as well. I can do that by clicking here. The blue button, the large blue button, select form for review. This determines what form is going to show up in this pane down here. By default, it's the research plan. The research plan will be the one that we use the most because it contains all of the questions that are asked on the forms as well. If I go down here and look, and I see the questions here that are on the particular form. For the research plan, the first question is the rationale, and here is the rationale. The student answer is located right here, and is also copied right here, so I can see the student's answer to the rationale. Now, this is just a test project, so it doesn't make any sense. If I don't like the way the student has answered that, or something needs to be fixed, I simply click Ask for Revision. I'll type in my comment, please fix the rationale, or check your spelling, or whatever it is you want, and then I will hit Submit. Now for each comment, I need to hit Submit. This submits the comments individually. That doesn't submit the review, it just submits the comments. So we want to submit that comment. If I want any other comments in any of the other fields, the procedure, data analysis, or some general form comments like good job or whatever you want to put, you can put it in the general form comments here. In this case, I'm just going to leave it at that. We're going to ask the student to fix the rationale. Now if I click Select Form for Review, if you look over on the right hand side, we have a list of all the forms that are associated with this project. This project doesn't have any extra forms or special forms, so basically the only thing to check on this form as far as comments goes is the research plan. I can view the checklist for adult sponsor. This is the actual document that I, as a teacher, the adult sponsor, will be signing when I approve the project. My signature will go here. So what if we've decided that this student is missing a form? If I go over here and look at his list of forms, and after I've read his research plan, I decide that this student needed a Form 3. We have some special action tools over here. The actions, we can flag things like project title. As you notice, there's no field here for project title, even though there's a project title on the form. So general things that go across all forms or special cases will be found here. So if I want the student to change the title, I'll click flag the title. If I want them to change their category, I'll click flag the category. You won't find those fields available on the form over here in this pane. Project start date, locations. If the student at the bottom of the form 1A, let's just look at the form A right quick. Again, here's another form where I don't have any comment fields, and that's because these fields are pulled from the database and from the student's input from various locations. So in order to change something on here, like the start date, I need to go up to my actions button and flag the start date if they've gotten that wrong. Same thing with the lists and addresses of non-schoolwork sites. If they've got an address in there that's messed up, I want to flag the locations because there's no place on this form to actually do that. Same thing in the research plan with the bibliography. The bibliography is its own special step. So if there's something wrong with their bibliography, I want to click flag the bibliography. Again, the bibliography, you won't find a comment field over here. You'll need to click this and make your comments here, save your changes. So once we're done creating the changes, if we've made comments, it's going to block out our approve project button. We can't approve it if we've told them to fix something. So if you want to approve the project, you need to not comment on the fields. So my only option now is to send it back for revision to the student. And if I click this button, what it will do is we'll send the comments that I've made, and it will send the student back to those steps automatically to fix them. So you don't need to tell them which step to go to in your comments. You simply need to tell them what it is that you don't like or what it is that needs to be fixed. So what happens if a student maybe is missing a form? If I look over here in the form, I read through the research plan and I decided this student needs a form 3, but I don't see one here. So what I can do is I can go up here to add forms, and I have a whole list of forms depending on the project that I'm able to add. Notice there are multiple qualified scientist forms. There's one for each category. We need to know what kind of qualified scientist the student needs. As a human participants, or vertebrate animals, biological agents, or hazardous materials. Here's our form 3. So if I click any of these scientist forms, these are basically forms that are filled out. The form 2 is filled out by a qualified scientist. What that's going to do is going to add the form, and then it's going to send the student back to that step where he gets the scientist signature. If I add a form 3, it's going to add the form and send the student back to the extra form section to fill out the questions on the form 3. If I add an SRC active form, such as the form 4, the 5A, 5B, or 6A, or 6B, it's going to send the student back to the survey to start over because they chose the wrong forms for their project, and it's going to have to be re-reviewed and re-signed again. They won't lose any of their data that they currently have, but they will lose a qualified scientist signature or a teacher signature if they've already gotten that. Continuation project will simply add the continuation form and send them back to the questions to fill it out. So these two forms, the continuation form and the risk form, do not send the student back to the survey. These forms do not send the student back to the survey, but they do send them back to get signatures from the qualified scientist. So I'm going to go back. Let's go back here and let's add a form 3. So I've added the form 3. It's update the page. Now if I select form for review, you can see that the form 3 has been added to their project. If I click on it, most likely going to be blank because the student hasn't filled it out yet. So I can scroll down here. Oh, the student previously filled one out. If you accidentally delete a form and re-add it, the information is not lost. So it will restore the old information, and that's what has happened on this form. This form was deleted. We brought it back, and so it restored the student's information. That's the nice thing about that. If during the review I've added a form and then I decide I didn't really mean to add that, I can always remove it again, and it won't affect the student's project. Same thing goes if the student's got a form that they don't need. We can simply remove that from the project. The student will be notified, and then we can go ahead and approve it. But since I've commented on this form, I have to send it back for revision. Now all of my comments are saved, but my review is not complete yet. My review will not be complete unless I either approve it or I send it back for revision. So I'm going to click to send it back for revision. It's going to ask me for a date. I'm just going to make something up here, and I'll send it back for revision. So it says it's updated the product status. If we look here, it's now changed status to under revision by student. Once the student addresses those issues, they will resubmit it, and it'll appear back up here and showing that it's been resubmitted. One more thing that I would like to show is, let's just go back to the teacher's dashboard. We have added some features to the project overview. So if I go back to projects, you can see I've got a list of all my projects here. Again, these are ones pending review. These are ones that I've already reviewed and approved. I haven't approved any yet, so my number is at 0. But here's a list of all of my projects. Before, we could click on View Project, and it gave us a little bit of information about the project. But now when we click on the project, we'll go to View Project. We have an extra feature here. Instead of just edit profile, log in a student, I can also look at the review history of this student, so that I can see the comments that I've made. So we were playing around, and we removed a form and then re-added it. So this shows the status of the student. The form 3 has been added. You need to answer questions. It tells me who the reviewer was and the date that it was reviewed. Once the student addresses it, it will turn green and say addressed. And once I approve it, this will turn green and say that it's been approved. So I will get a whole list of all the comments that were made on this project, no matter who reviewed it. So teachers, when your students go to the higher fairs and they get SRC approvals, or you need to check on the SRC status, you'll be able to see that in your projects list. You'll be able to see it in their review history. The newest reviews are located on top. So that concludes the tutorial on a teacher review. Again, this was a teacher review, not an SRC review. When the SRC review comes online, it will work in a similar fashion, but for now, this is just the teacher review.